Well, happy Wednesday, Calvary family. I'm Chris, your worship pastor here. Happy spring break to some. Others got a couple more weeks before spring break happens, but we are in that gap now in this month of March here where it just seems like we're in and out so much. I wanted to check in with you a little bit and just see how we're doing on the Luke books here. So I've got my Luke book out here ready to go. And also, just a reminder that we still have these Luke reading plans that we are drawing towards the end of here. We're still in that week of March 12th through the 18th. And this week's reading, if you're still following along, is in Luke 18 and 19. So I thought, why not let's look at chapter 18 today and just talk about a little bit of what's going on here. We're going to focus on prayer, which has been one of my topics that I love talking about here recently, especially in the year of 2023. For some reason, it's just popped up a lot here. So let's read. Starting in verse 1 of chapter 18, it says, "Now he told them a parable on the need for them to pray always and to not give up." So, hey, if you're wanting to write in your book here, you got to underline that. You got to highlight that first sentence because this is what we're talking about. We can't do anything else with the text unless we do this right here and recognize he's teaching them a point. And what's he teaching them? He's teaching them the need to pray always and to not give up. Persistence there is a theme here. So let's keep reading. "There was a judge in a certain town who didn't fear God or respect people. And a widow in that town kept coming to him saying, 'Give me justice against my adversary.' For a while he was unwilling, but later he said to himself, 'Even though I do not fear God or respect people, yet because this widow keeps pestering me, I will give her justice so that she does not wear me out by her persistent coming.' Then the Lord said," in verse 6 and following here, "Listen to what the unjust says. Will not God grant justice to his elect who cry out to him day and night? Will he delay helping them? I tell you, he will swiftly grant them justice. Nevertheless, when the Son of Man comes, will he find faith on earth?" It's a challenge for us to remain faithful in prayer here, to not give up. So I ask you, what is your one thing that maybe you've been holding on to in prayer and it seems like a long time that you've been praying for this one thing, whatever it may be, and you're this persistent widow here who just keeps going back to the unjust judge, someone who doesn't have to grant permission to this. But God is even more than the unjust judge. He is a just judge. And so he grants that justice that the persistent widow is asking for here. And he longs to be with you. I've been reading a book as well. Last year I read this book called Praying Like Monks, Living Like Fools by Tyler Staton. If you know me or some of the staff on here, you're probably rolling your eyes at us because we talk about this way too much. But he actually talks about this in one of his chapters, the persistence in prayer. He calls it a laboring in prayer, much like childbirth, how you're just continually getting closer to that prayer being answered and how hard that struggle could be. And he offers 3 practices to persist in your prayer. Number 1, he says in here, say it like you mean it. So don't walk around the issue. Don't go, "Well, Lord, I really love you, and man, if you just be so kind, here's half of what I'm asking for." Just say it like you mean it. God knows you. He's actually probably heard you say it like you meant it before, whether you knew it or not. So say it with persistence. Say it like you mean it, exactly what that thing is, whatever it may be. Be honest with him. Be raw with the Lord. Tell him your frustrations with why you haven't seen whatever your prayer requests come to fruition here. Maybe it's a loved one that you're praying for. Certain situation, whatever it may be, come to him with honesty. Number 2, listen for the question. A lot of times whenever we come for prayer, maybe it's after service, maybe it's with a friend, or maybe it's just a guide, we come with a question but not the question. Does that make sense? So we bring our honest selves here and we listen for what is actually the question we're looking for, not the question we may be bringing in the moment, because that may not be actually what we're asking. But what is the question in a moment of our vulnerability that we can ask of the Lord? And the third thing, ask God to meet you in that question. So whatever that question that pops out, that honest, vulnerable situation right there, ask God to meet you in that and yield to his will and allow that persistence to pay off for God's glory, and to see that God will grant justice, as we see in the persistent widow in chapter 18 here of Luke. So that's your challenge for today. I hope you're doing well on this spring break. Hey, stay persistent in prayer. Pray always about everything. We love you. We will see you later in the week. May God bless.